Festival East, having a beautiful time reconnecting with my lovely friends in the raw food world. And I am here with Dashama, who I met at the last Raw Spirit Festival, and this festival is kind of winding down at this point. She came up to say goodbye to me, and we had a beautiful time connecting yesterday. And we were just talking a little bit about some thoughts, some afterthoughts about the festival, and Dashama had just some insights that she wanted to share, just some things that were on her mind after being here for the weekend, soaking in lots of differing information, lots of goodies here and to help inspire and educate and support us in our raw food lifestyle. So I asked Dashama if she would be so kind as to give us a little synopsis of her take on the festival and what's on her heart and mind at this time. Thanks for being with us, Dashama. It's so good to see you.
Thank you. I always love being with you guys.
We have so much fun.
I know. These festivals they're so amazing.
I know.
Yeah, so thank you. Yeah, you know, every festival is always a beautiful experience, connecting with new people and really reconnecting with people that you've met before. One thing that became very present for me during this festival, and specifically the Raw Spirit Festival, is the profound experience that people have with this lifestyle. You know, a lot of people in the world, they try different diets and different things work for them. And maybe, I was just talking to someone today about the Atkins diet and how, you know, actually a lot of people lost weight on that diet, but the repercussions and the long-term effect, you know, wasn't necessarily so good. But what I noticed is that the people that are drawn to the raw diet and the raw lifestyle and the living foods, it's more and more spiritual experience, and they're really connecting with this deeper essence inside than in any other diet program, you know, lifestyle. So you come to these experiences, you come to this festival, and you have people all over the place just shining bright with this inner light, and that light is coming directly from the source, and it's coming directly from that connection. And everything that they offer here, everything from the food, which is just natural food grown organically and not processed really at all, and put together in such a delicious way that you have no choice but to be smitten and falling in love all the time. Every time you turn around, you're falling in love with something new, someone new, and a new experience and a new doorway opening in your heart. And this morning, I heard them, they were singing, and it was the Raw Spirit Church here. And it was Sunday morning, and they're singing about love. And it had nothing, you know, there was no religion, it wasn't like, you know, any kind of religion attached to it, but it was all about love and praises to love, and we're here to love, and peace is what we want. And that's at the very essence of this lifestyle. So it's very interesting, because I think, you know, more than any other reason that someone might select a lifestyle option or maybe a diet program to consider, you know, think about the deeper essence of what is really being offered, you know, and look at the community that is supporting the movement. And when you come into this community, you really do, you feel nurtured, you feel supported, and you see this transformation that's occurring in people. You know, yesterday I was emceeing at the main stage, and all day long there were stories upon stories, and every speaker, it was a story of transformation. And it was how, you know, like one of the stories, he was 400 pounds. He showed the pants. I mean, they were size 58 or something. Yeah. He said there was a point where he got to the biggest size they offered at the store, and then he was like, I don't know what to do now, because there's no more clothes that they make for my size. I don't have the money to have my clothes custom made. What am I gonna do? And so this was like the desperation, and this was him hitting, you know, this wall, and it came to a decision in his life, and he started the raw lifestyle, and he went through his ups and downs with it, and successes and failures and trying. But in the end, now years and years later, you know, he's kept the weight off. He lost over 200 pounds, and now he's a motivational speaker. He goes around inspiring people. So that was just one example. And all weekend upon weekend, it was stories and stories of people who had had a shift. And most of the time, what you see is that the shift is not only happening, but it's continuing, meaning that the results are lasting. You know, that's one thing I notice with people. They try like a diet program and they do this and they lose the weight and then they go back to their old ways and then they're like gaining it back. And it's like this yo-yo. They call it the yo-yo diet. You know, but basically, if you continue with that, you're really going to mess up your metabolism, and your consciousness is affected because you're always up and down. You have some level of depression related to that because your expectation is not being met. And what I see here is that people are shifting into a whole new lifestyle, and then that's continuing to support them in maintaining their goals and the results that they're achieving, and not only with health. And then you start to see the transformation occurring in the spiritual level, and you see the transformation occurring in their like heart when they start to connect with people, because it's so common in the world today that people will tell you, if you have at least one good friend in the world, you're doing pretty good. And I have to say that most of the people who are in this community would say they have more than one good friend. And I would have to say that actually I would consider almost everybody that I meet here a good friend, and that I would feel confident that if I needed something that they would actually be there, and I would do the same for them. Because you're connected not only, you know, in the physical, but you're connected at the level of the soul.
I really appreciate your recap of the weekend for you and what was going on. And one of the things that's jumping out at me is the sense of community in having a lifestyle that works for you, you know, and there's a lot of support here this weekend, but I think you're also really talking about having community around you in your lifestyle to maintain the changes that you're making, and how important that is. And this is just one place to connect. And I want to encourage people to, you know, get out, go to a raw food potluck, or go to a health lecture, or go somewhere where you can be around like-minded people to encourage yourself. I know that, you know, just meeting Dashama the last time, it was very inspirational. And then when we met again, we could, you know, we were both doing some projects, and we're excited about things, and we're brainstorming on ideas, and we're encouraging each other. And this is what happens when you come together with like-minded people. You get inspired, and you learn new things from each other, and you know, you just kind of feel good, and you feel connected. And I think it's very important to be in places where you're not so isolated, you know, where you're reminded that we're all one, and then you're in places that support that concept. And you know, even sitting here, there's, I don't know if you can hear it listening to this, but there's the most amazing angelic music coming from a stage down below in the grass area. And over beyond us, behind our film producer Katy, there's educational lectures going on, there's food demonstrations going on, there's a sacred exercise area where I know there's going to be some yoga and other things going on, and some performing later on, and there's food right behind us. And it's like this whole lifestyle is, we've had an opportunity to see it kind of all come together visually, and experience it, you know, all at once, in a little kind of compact way. And that's what this weekend was really about. You know, it was about remembering all the points of the lifestyle. You know, get your spirit inspired by this music, and get your body moving through the yoga or the hula hooping that was going on.
That was so
listen
fun.
to some information that gives you some, wow, you know, as a vegan and a raw foodist, B12 is good to take. You know, and I want to make sure I also get some good probiotics and digestive enzymes. And why do I not want to saturate myself with all the agaves? Like, it was just a great reminder of being in line with a wonderful lifestyle and reconnecting. And is there anything else that jumps out at you that this week, that information or anything that happened this weekend and experience that you want to